New today, a level 2 storm threat makes Saturday a WRAL weather alert day. I'll walk you through the risks and the timing.
And as our historic drought drags on, a lot of people are wondering what exactly it would take to end it. Is a hurricane the answer? We'll talk about it with our weather team. Then, happening right now, Cary leaders are meeting to discuss raising property taxes, what's on the table, and how much more you could have to pay. And we got a lot to cover tonight. An update on the drought, of course, what it could mean for 4th of July celebrations, and a town in trouble figuring out its budget. This is your newscast. We want you to be a part of this. So please send us an email, 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. Let us know what you're thinking. What angles should we be approaching? What stories should we be covering? We want to share your voice in all this. We would love to hear from you. Send us an email. We're going to start first up with the weather. So the heat's ramping up. So are our chances of storms. Meteorologist Kat Campbell looking ahead to a storm threat this weekend, Kat.
Saturday is now a WRAL weather alert day. We've been placed under a level 2 out of 5 severe weather threat for Saturday by the Storm Prediction Center, and that automatically triggers a weather alert day in our area. This is mainly due to the threat for damaging straight line wind gusts, and we could see frequent lightning also cause some issues for outdoor plans. Make sure you have an indoor backup plan and a way to receive severe weather notifications like the WRAL weather app. The next weather maker that's coming in for the weekend is this front right here. Friday and Saturday, the front's going to be more to the north. We're going to be on that hot, humid, stormy side of the front those days. By Sunday, the front itself may actually make some progress and begin to drop in from north to south, and that may cause some additional storms Sunday, so we'll have to monitor Sunday's severe weather threat as well. The drought status was updated today, and there were no big improvements in the drought, unfortunately. We'll have a closer look at our next opportunities for rain and the timing on Futurecast this weekend coming up.
All right, we'll talk to you soon, Kat. Thank you. Some rain, boy, would really be welcome right now because of the drought. 4th of July celebrations right around the corner, and we got some questions about what this drought could mean for fireworks. Nancy writing in and saying, with the severe drought situation, why are fireworks displays scheduled? This is a recipe for disaster, she said. And it seems like kind of a fair point with the dry conditions out there, but it's not that simple. And leaders aren't changing course right now. WRAL's Bailey Stamos talked to leaders around the Triangle to find out why.
Despite a drier than normal summer, municipalities like Raleigh, Durham, Cary, and Apex are all planned as scheduled. Places like here at Diggs Park are expecting thousands of visitors to watch those fireworks by next weekend. Meanwhile, Chapel Hill is replacing its traditional fireworks display with a drone show. State forestry officials say drought conditions remain a concern, but fire risks are lower than they were earlier this spring. Officials say they'll continue monitoring conditions ahead of the holiday and remind residents that all of these events are weather dependent. Bailey Stamos, WRAL News in Raleigh.
All right, Bailey, thank you. So the drought's not really showing any signs of getting better anytime soon. We need the rain. We need lots of it, like the type we see from a hurricane or another serious tropical system. But is that what it'll actually take to get us out of this? We're going to talk more about that in depth in about 10 minutes. Happening now here at 7 o'clock, the town of Cary is getting ready to vote on its budget. The town's been under a lot of scrutiny in recent months. A lot of people sharing concerns about how the town spends its money. Brian Schrader's in the Live Center keeping a tab on this vote for us tonight. Brian.
They are talking about how they're going to be spending money next year as they discuss the town budget. This is a live look right now at the Cary Town Council meeting. They're talking about a $573 million budget plan. And the big story for Cary residents is that it could mean a property tax hike. The typical Cary homeowner could see their property taxes for the town go up $200 a year. This would be the second year in a row that they have raised taxes. Also, utility rates and other service fees would go up in the budget plan. Town says they need the money because they're hiring for public safety positions, police officers and firefighters, and also some new positions to oversee the town's finances. As you know, there are ongoing investigations, including a criminal investigation into allegations of financial mismanagement under former town manager Sean Stiegel, who resigned in December. We're going to be monitoring this here. Flynn Snyder is also in Cary. Look for his reporting later tonight on our news at 10 and 11.
We'll see if property taxes go up in Cary. All right, thank you, Brian. Want to get you caught up now on the other headlines? These are the 5 things you should know right now. A stepmother was arrested and accused of of murder 11 years after a woman's disappearance. Connie Graham is accused of conspiring with her sons to destroy evidence. Sarah Graham vanished in 2015. The case got the attention of the FBI. Connie Graham and her husband were Robeson County deputies when Sarah disappeared. A man's accused of stealing a car, crashing it, then getting out and stealing a truck in Wake County. Raleigh police say he later crashed that truck, too, at the intersection of Snow Avenue and Morgan Street. Police told us along the way he hit 3 other cars. He is facing at least 1 charge of possession of a stolen vehicle. State Highway Patrol says the person was likely impaired. A man is accused of killing his wife at the Smithfield manufacturing plant. Sky 5 over that scene at the AAF Flanders plant this morning. Jesus Bermudez is charged with murdering Lorena Paz. She was found dead in the parking lot of that facility. Cary-based software company SAS is laying off hundreds of employees. SAS says these changes are to align its resources with long-term goals. That's the way they're putting it. It's a global company, of course, and didn't specify where the jobs were getting cut. The UNC-NC State rivalry appears to be heading down I-40. Reports say the rivals will play at a non-conference game in Greensboro this year in men's basketball. The way the schedule kind of shakes out, they're only scheduled to play each other once in conference play. A new round of back and forths over the war in Iran. Democrats are criticizing the Trump administration and its deal to end the war, specifically the part of the agreement that promises $300 billion for Iran. WRAL PolitiFact reporter Paul Spey explains why there's confusion over where that money is coming from and where it's going.
You've probably seen the number attached to the ceasefire deal between the U.S. and Iran, $300 billion. That's how much money has been planned to help rebuild the country. Now, where exactly is that money coming from? Well, Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar says the U.S. is sending that money to Iran. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump says there is no payment to Iran. Now, who's right here? Well, it's hard to say because language in the deal is vague. Take a look at your screen. This is the memorandum of understanding that a senior U.S. official leaked to the media. It says the U.S. undertakes with regional partners a plan with at least $300 billion for the reconstruction and economic development of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Notice, it does not say where the money comes from. Reporters recently asked Vice President J.D. Vance what that memo means. Vance said there are nations in the Middle East that want to invest in Iran but can't because of U.S. sanctions. If those countries are soon allowed to spend that money, well, that could potentially count toward that $300 billion agreement.
Let's say the United Arab Emirates, who've been a great ally over the last, not just few months, but over the last many years, let's say that they would like to invest in building a power plant. That actually is impossible right now because of the way that U.S. sanctions work. And so what we're saying is that if you behave and if the Emiratis themselves want to build a power plant, then we will do the sanctions relief necessary to make that possible.
Now, what happens if the U.S. can't secure investment pledges from those other countries? Well, that's not clear. The Memorandum of Understanding says the formal deal could take up to 60 days to finalize. Read more at WRAL.com.
All right, thank you to Paul. So we got some real rain this week and a chance of even more rain coming this weekend. Unfortunately, none of it is even putting a dent in our drought. So what is it going to take? Well, we need the type of rain we see during hurricanes or tropical storms, but is that really our only way out? We're going to look at the options next. So we got to look at a new drought map that came out today, and there were no real updates. I mean, it's still pretty bad out there. Parts of the triangle are under what they describe as exceptional drought. That's the most severe category they have. Now, we got a few inches of rain earlier this week, and it did nothing. Didn't even put a dent into it. So what is it actually going to take? Well, meteorologist Amy Wilmoth published a story today saying, well, it was kind of a startling headline, saying a hurricane or several tropical storms might be what it takes, what we need to get out all of this. We need so much rain, and we typically only see that amount of rain during those tropical systems, during things like a hurricane. And that seems like a pretty tough ask. Obviously, nobody wants a hurricane. We see how bad things can get when one of those hits. Even something like Chantal last year, which was not a hurricane. not even a tropical storm, caused major problems. There are people still not back in their homes right now, almost a year after we got hit with all that rain. Kind of feels like we are stuck between a rock and a hard place. We need lots of rain. Lots of rain could cause problems. But it's not all doom and gloom. There is some hope that we can bust through this drought without dealing with the chaos of a hurricane. I talked with meteorologist Kat Campbell about what that might look like. All right, Kat, so let's talk about first what we would need to see during this tropical season, aside from a hurricane that brings its own list of problems.
We could be really helped out by the tropics in a way that's not getting slammed by a hurricane at the North Carolina coast or something like that. We could get remnant tropical rain, and that would be definitely a better way to get out of the drought if we had a couple of systems that maybe came up from the Gulf. They weakened significantly, so they were no longer a hurricane or tropical storm when they got here, but they still brought the rain our way. That could easily bring us, 2 to 4 inches of rain, and if we had a couple of rounds of that, the soil would probably be able to soak in those 2 to 4 inch totals, unlike instantly seeing a foot of rain from a hurricane slamming into the coast.
So let's say we get a little bit of help there, but of course we would need more as the season changes into the fall. What is the outlook as we get into that part of the year?
One of the best things that we could see that would really benefit us is something called an upper level low. It's not something that we talk about all that often, but it is a system that is cut off from the jet stream, and that's significant because it can't move. Once those upper level lows set up, the jet stream isn't there to push them along. So we're able to see these rounds of rain for a couple of days straight that bring us a steady rain, but it may not be as heavy of a rain. So if we had a couple of days of steady rain, that could really benefit us. And we sometimes see that as we head into the fall with these upper level lows.
So another little baby step there. Of course, this is the slower path, so we would need some help in winter. Also, are you able to know what winter might look like?
Well, El Nino years typically have wetter winters, especially in the eastern part of North Carolina. So the farther east you go, the wetter things tend to be during El Nino seasons, but that could really help us out as well. It would be a slower path to get to the end goal of ending the drought, but it may be a little bit of a happier path to get there as opposed to one big hurricane hitting at once.
Got it. Thank you, Kat. So, not all bad. There is a reasonable way out of this, but it's probably months away. That's where all of these restrictions come into play. So Raleigh, Durham, Rocky Mount all enforce tighter rules to help conserve our dwindling water supply. Wilson and Nash counties just launched some restrictions this week. Other places are asking people to voluntarily cut back, but we might see that change too. People apparently, though, just aren't listening as well as some of our leaders would like. People are actually, if you can believe it, using more water right now within the city of Raleigh water system, which includes other towns like within Wake County, than they were last year at this time when there weren't any restrictions in place. And so now they're handing out a bunch more warnings and they're trying to get people on board. Enforcement's ramping up, and it's because the outlook isn't great. Here's what Ed Buchan, the city's assistant water director, told us.
This is what we think will be the drought of record, which means the most serious drought this area has ever experienced. I was here during the 2007 and 2008 drought, which at that time was our drought of record. I believe this will surpass that.
So let's do a quick history lesson, all right? He mentioned 2007 was the worst drought that we have ever seen. I mean, it covered huge portions of the state, and there was widespread water restrictions in place, and it was bad, frankly. The restrictions, I should say, were a lot stricter than what we are seeing right now. So Raleigh water customers are currently under a stage 1 restriction. The main impact is just people watering their lawn, the grass outside. You can use your sprinklers, but only on certain days of the week. In 2007, people couldn't use water for anything beyond normal hygiene. So you could shower, use the bathroom, use the toilet, wash your clothes, but that was pretty much it. Since people aren't listening, the Raleigh city manager, I should say, says that restrictions might ramp up next month to stage 2. And here's what that would look like. It would be a ban on all sprinklers, penalties ramping up for people who aren't listening to the restrictions. People really wouldn't notice that much of a difference. It wouldn't be a lot different than what you're seeing right now. But if it gets as bad as what we saw in 2007, that is where most people will notice, in that stage 3 category. You wouldn't be able to water your lawn at all in any way. Some car washes would have to close unless they're using reclaimed water. Athletic fields would stop getting watered. People's pools wouldn't be able to be refilled. So personal pool, neighborhood pool, public pool, anything like that, unless it was for some sort of safety reason. There's also the impact on farmers, of course. The drought is really wreaking havoc on them. That could mean less crops being produced, higher prices at the grocery store, less trips to the farmers market for families. In 2007, the governor had to ask for a federal bailout to help our farmers and their businesses just to survive. The bottom line, things aren't looking great right now. Whether it's the path that Kat lined out for us, it's a little longer, some sort of tropical system, or even a hurricane. We just need a lot of rain to get through this. We've been talking about this drought for a while, and we'll continue to talk about it. So much of the conversation is driven by your feedback and emails, so keep them coming. Send an email, 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. And June, Kat, has been exceptionally dry. You know, this week we got a little bit of rain, but man, it felt like it was forever before we saw those raindrops.
It was the record driest start to June. I mean, we went.
One last thing, some patriotism tied with a story of survival. A bunch of towns are finalizing plans for their 4th of July celebrations. In Southport, they're introducing a new position, the dog marshal. It works just like a normal grand marshal leading the festivities, except, well, it's a dog. The dog picked has had quite the journey to get to the front of the parade route. This is Strike. He's a black lab. Around the 4th of July last year, he was swimming in a pond when an alligator attacked him. His owner jumped in, help him fight off that gator. They swam back to shore. A broken leg, some surgery, multiple week recovery, all followed. He's on the mend now, fully recovered, and the town is calling him an inspiration and a testament to true bravery. Can't wait to see him at the front of that parade. Good boy. All right, some quick feedback from some of you watching tonight at home. Larry asked if there are any restrictions for farmers who use waterways like the Tar River or Cape Fear River to irrigate their crops. So it really depends on where those farmers are located. For example, in Rocky Mount, they pull from the Tar River, and there are some restrictions in place. There's some special permits, though, that you can apply to get your crops to continue to thrive and be alive. There's a lot of things out there to help farmers. So all you have to do is look some stuff up, ask the right people. Everybody is fighting for our farmers to thrive. Another email here from Adam. He wrote, for those of us who are lifelong residents, we know how much this drought can impact us. We have been through the water restrictions in the 90s and the 2000s. It is not fun. And we talked about that a little bit earlier today. We were putting together this newscast, is how to break through to a lot of the people at home who we know are just really busy putting their life together. Every day is a hustle and bustle, especially if you two people work in the household, you have kids, stuff like that. It's tough, especially in the summertime, kids are out of school. How do we let people know how important it is beyond just, hey, you can't water your lawn? And we're going to continue to try and tell that story, because if the drought continues, believe me, it will touch each and every one of our lives in a very noticeable way. So keep those emails coming, 7 p.m. at WRAL.com. This is your newscast. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Great to have you with us.